From Korea to Germany. From Alaska to Puerto Rico. All over the world, the men and women of your Army are on the alert to defend our nation, you, the American people, against aggression. This is the big picture.
Welcome to The Big Picture, presented by your United States Army. I'm Captain Carl Zimmerman. Today, The Big Picture deals with the story of Army Aviation, the team of light planes flown by soldier pilots that, through their battle record in Korea, have made a permanent place for themselves in the Army of tomorrow. Later on, we'd like you to meet Captain A.T. Pumphrey, one of our Army pilots returned from Korea. Now, The Big Picture and the story of Army Aviation.
In the frightening mass of firepower which is the American Army in action today, it is strange but true that one of its most important weapons has neither guns nor armament. That weapon is Army Light Aviation, a rapidly expanding branch of warfare which has only now gained maturity on the battlefields of Korea. Making up that branch are the teams of hedgehoppers, puddle jumpers, and helicopters. Army planes flown by soldier pilots acting as seeing-eye birds for the combat troops and flying ambulances for the medics. Today, the Army has plans for helicopter companies which can pick up and put down a whole division of fighting men on the exact spot they are needed, a feat made possible by the use of light aviation in combat. But the use of aviation in war is not new. Since the beginning of warfare, man has strived to secure the advantage of height. He did it as early as 1794, and during the French Revolution, took to the air for observation in a war balloon. He's been doing it ever since. In World War I, both sides used observation planes to direct artillery fire, take photographs, and collect information for Army intelligence. They were not the last word in design and were nicknamed flying crates, but they did a job. The observation plane of World War II wasn't an aircraft designer's dream either, but it too did its job well, and every day the Army found new tasks for it. As the light plane was used more and more in combat, the pattern of its future role in our Army emerged. Wherever American soldiers fought around the world, the Army's light planes were with them, achieving new heights of usefulness. Without guns or armor of any kind, they puttered across the front lines at 60 miles an hour. In Germany, collecting information. Bougainville, evacuating wounded. New Guinea, air supply of cut-off troops. And in Alaska, they put on skis and carried on. Experience in Korea today is opening up an entirely new air frontier within the Army. More and more aircraft are being used to expedite and facilitate operations in the combat zone. Aviation has become a permanent part of a fighting unit's organization. A great advantage of the light plane is that it can be flown at low altitudes, and it's no stunt to skim in low. It can tree skip or hedge hop. And if it wants, it can puddle jump. To an enemy fighter, a light plane is as shifty as a bantamweight boxer and as hard to hit as a small bird on the wing. If it does find itself in a tight spot, it can just go and hide. Light planes are used on tactical missions like this. A division is on the move, and the area through which the troops must move is a series of question marks. What are the roads like up ahead? Is it out in the open? Is it muddy? And where can the river be crossed? Maybe there are roadblocks. Where are the enemy's guns? The division must know the answers to these questions, and G2 gets most of them by reconnaissance patrols and other methods. But last-minute developments, a sudden shift in the enemy's position, a break in the line, these are the tasks of the Army's light aircraft. Pilots, Army officers first and flyers second, get briefed before a mission. They must now be reporters. In the old days, nobody knew what was up ahead of the marching infantrymen, but today, Army pilots bring back the information, which is a vital factor of tactical success. Any road is their airfield, or 200 yards of flat surface will do. In a few minutes, the division will know if its maps are up to date and if the terrain ahead is passable. If the message is urgent, it can be radioed back immediately, and a commander can control his troops on the march. Tanks and armored patrols look to the Army's little planes for maximum efficiency. An armored reconnaissance patrol comes to a stop. The next turn might mean life or death. The patrol wants to know what's around that bend, and again, the light plane provides the answer. Enemy roadblock around curve suggests staying off-road. A life-saving message, and the patrol can roll on. In the mountainous terrain of Korea, Army aviators continue to aid ground forces in plotting enemy positions and planning routes of approach. After bitter days of fighting, foot soldiers and artillery observers often climb from ridge to ridge, only to find still higher mountains in front of them. Adjusting artillery fire from the ground becomes impossible, and still another task is assigned the Army plane. Artillery observation planes fly over enemy lines, spotting targets. Positions are worked out in terms of map coordinates, and the information is flashed back. The pilot and observer look for the flash of enemy guns. Their location is recorded, and minutes later, our guns pound the enemy. Of all observed field artillery in the Korean campaign, most of it has been from Army aircraft, flying as long as 5 hours at a time, deep behind enemy lines without protection or firepower. The division seeks information about a section of the front. In a few minutes, a pilot and observer are over enemy ground, recording and reporting. Not bothering to land, the Grasshopper swoops low over the combat airstrip and jettisons its package of information to the ground, where it is picked up and relayed to command. The plane continues its vigil. Another major role played by the light aircraft is that of aerial photography. A big factor in deciding battles is how accurate and up-to-date is the information we have about enemy strength and disposition. The Air Force primarily serves the Army's aerial photographic needs of ground headquarters. But in specific combat zones, the light plane is called upon to supplement this service.